The minute we pulled out of Afghanistan in a haphazard way, I remember saying, China's got to be looking at Taiwan and going, now's our best time to be aggressive. And sure enough, suddenly they got more fighter jets flying into the edge of Taiwanese airspace. Clearly at least putting down the marker, like, hey, we're marking territory. But there's all this, I guess a simple question. What do people tell you? Is China going to make a move on Taiwan? I mean, they claim it's theirs anyway. Are they going to be like, now it is ours?
Well, that's a really pressing and important question, to be sure. And there has been a massive uptick in amphibious warfare preparation drills from the large Chinese Navy. As you point out, a massive uptick in fighter jets going over the air zone over Taiwanese airspace. And then, of course, there's submarine activity as well. It's a massive threat circumstance. And many
is that just flexing muscle, or is that actually, are people suggesting, no, they're gearing up? I don't even know what that would look like. I mean, how do they take back Taiwan? Basically be like, okay, we will bomb you if you don't concede. And the U.S. don't back them. Like, let us take over. We're going to send in ground troops. What would they do?
Well, there's a really interesting section that's kind of buried in the Pentagon report that talked about the evolution or maturation of Chinese position on Taiwan. It used to be that they were open to the PRC, was thinking about something called one country, two systems, where they would allow for a certain measure of autonomy within
like
Taiwan.
Hong Kong.
The thinking is that that's been largely abandoned or potentially abandoned in part due to Taiwanese public opinion, pushback, etc. And so it's a much more aggressive posture. And you raise a fascinating question. What would happen and how would a massive overtake of Taiwan go forward? What might it look like? Couple of quick thoughts. China has lots of ballistic missiles. Now, Taiwan is only 100 miles from the Chinese mainland coast, so it's easily accessible. It's within the combat radius of fighter jets. It's reachable by some long-range ballistic weapons, missiles. And that's part of why there's been a lot of emphasis on amphibious assault, a lot of air, ground, undersea. China's fast adding new amphibious assault vehicles. And with air power, they're also building a J-31, which is a fifth-generation stealth-like fighter to compete with the F-35 that'll go off their carriers. Now, they don't have an F-35B like the U.S. Marines do, a vertical takeoff F-35. But there is a significant amphibious threat. So there are reports about Taiwan getting Abrams tanks. The thinking is to slow down the beachhead assault long enough to allow other allies to arrive. Can the U.S. get there fast enough?